Can I borrow a quarter? I just used my last one. Hey guys, Jason the Bruce here with Getting Tabled, and today I'm going to give you a bit of a review of a game that I received from Kickstarter recently. This is a game that has been delivered late. It was originally slated to be dropped in February last year, but as you're about to see, I'm not actually upset about this. This has turned out to be really good. This is a board game that delivers with both standees and with miniatures. There was delays on the delivery on the production side of things, and then COVID's pushed things back significantly as well. But we're taking a look at Streets of Steel. So Streets of Steel was on Kickstarter a couple of years ago. At the time when it was being put on Kickstarter, there was reviews done of what was essentially a early production copy at the time. This is the actual product that's come out to backers now. This is something that, as far as I understand, will be going to retail. It's very much supposed to have the feel of a beat 'em up. So it's your Double Dragons, it's your Streets of Rage, Streets of Steel. They're not. It's your Final Fights. It's your early Ninja Turtles games. It's your Battletoads, so on and so forth. During the late 80s and early 90s, there was no shortage of these games at all. But it's kind of a board game type that just kind of disappeared. Not board game, video game type that kind of just disappeared. This kind of captures the feelings of those games quite well. I'm going to take you down to the table now, and I'm going to try and give you an idea of how the game looks and feels, firstly with the standees, and then with the miniatures. So, as you can see, I've currently got things set out with your standees, because the base game comes with standees. There is a miniature set that you can get that comes separately. They did come in a separate box. I'll come back to the box itself in a couple of minutes, because they did something quite nice with that I quite enjoy. So, just to give you an idea, these are some of our heroes. Very much has that retro gaming feel to the way that they've been designed. These are one of the villains. Very much retro gaming feel in the way that they've designed everything. However, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to change all of this across so that it's the miniatures, and I'll be back with you. So here we are back again, and I've replaced all of the standees with miniatures. Now, the thing I wanted to point out, these bases here, like the standees for the heroes were coloured. Actually, let's get Mr. Van Damage. So that's Mayor Van Damage. He's got a blue standee base. This guy has one as well that can be removed. That's important because in the bad guy cards, they give you, like if a bad guy has to attack potentially more than one person, it'll give you an idea of the priority that the card shows, if that makes sense. So for example, I've got an example here of one of the actions that a bad guy could be doing. So at the end of every hero turn, there is a bad guy turn. So at this point, the Firebug, which is these guys, each Firebug targets a hero with the most health, and they attack with 2 damage dice, which are your red ones. They will give priority to red, and then blue, and then green, and we don't have any but yellow. There is more than 3 heroes. I've just got this set up this way at the moment because I've set it up for a single player game. So, each character gets a turn. At the edge of that character's turn, the bad guys will have a go. each person gets 3 actions. So one of those actions could be to move. One of those actions could be to attack. And one of those actions could be to use one of their special moves that I'll get into in a minute. One of those actions could be to pick up an item. For example, there is a Survivo knife. I can discard this to add another punch to one of my attacks. If the target is defeated, I can move 1 space. So I get a free movement out of that as well. So, your characters. This is Mayor Van Damage, which is this guy. I like the fact that the minis have been sculpted to look like the artwork. This is how much his maximum health is. How much wild power he can potentially earn. How much he moves in 1 turn. And when he attacks, how many punch dice, how many kick dice. Each character has 2 abilities. So he has one that's basically an attack move. He has another one where he can share his wild power with his other people on the board. There's different profile cards for each bad guy. There's also a boss. Just using this as an example, that's the challenge of the character. So, for example, that's why he's there. Each time you move into a new street tile, they will be loaded up with what they're supposed to be coming with. If you move out of their... So if you move while the bad guy is there, basically, they get an automatic attack on you, and that's what this is. This is their defense, so you must deal at least 2 damage to defeat this person. And this is the reward you get if you defeat them. I should probably show off. They are actually nice, thick cards. These are the same as well. Okay, so hypothetically, let's pretend we had an attack. Maybe she moved in, she killed that person, and then she managed to get up that far for her second turn. Maybe he's done the same thing. Maybe... Actually, let's say that he managed to... He didn't actually manage to kill this person, but that one did manage to kill that one. At the end of your turn, this board will go away, and anything that's on it automatically dies. These then slide over, and your next tile comes into play. This is how they're representing your beat 'em up type game. Because in those games, generally, once you moved forward, it wouldn't let you go back again. They would then have to spend one of their quarters to bring that character back. Mechanically wise, this actually feels really good. I wasn't sure how it would really feel, because it's all well and good to say, hi, I'm going to make a game and I'm going to base it on this X thing that used to be around as a childhood. But if it doesn't feel like the thing you remember as a child, then it's not going to resonate. It does feel like a beat 'em up. The artwork resembles it. The characters kind of feel like they came straight out of the games. The heroes, I mean, I'm sorry, but if that doesn't look like the mayor at a final fight, then you need to get your eyes checked. It's even like, I can't think of the name of the... Is it Mayor Hogan or Mayor? I don't remember. I remember he was a wrestling character. I don't remember the guy's name though. He feels like he's from the same... He kind of feels like the same guy. It could also kind of feel a bit like Ken, maybe. Otherwise, he feels like a character from the same game. Or one of the... No, he feels like one of the Streets of Rage guys. Is who he feels like. It feels a bit like Scarlet from Streets of Rage. Little bit different, but nonetheless. So this is Candy Connor. You tell me she doesn't feel like the fast walking character from the later Streets of Rage games. She's even got the skates. This is your damage dice. There's 1 double damage, 2 regular damage, and I believe everything else is a blank. This is your punch dice. You've got 3, you've got 1, 2, 3, so there's 4 punches and then 2 blanks. And this is your kick dice. So you've got 2 double kicks, 1 normal kick, and then 1, 2 blanks. No, 3 blanks, sorry. 1, 2, 3 blanks. Yeah. So there are your dice. Mechanics wise, these feel fine. I like the fact that they're not just all the same, because otherwise what's the point in having multiple coloured dice if they're all the same? I had a go of this, was it last night? No, it was the night before. And I got right up to the boss tile. I got the boss down to 1 health. He managed to heal himself. Then I got him back down to 1 health again, and then I died. If I hadn't have been an idiot and forgotten to get my hero off this first tile and move him up, I probably would have won. Because that cost me a quarter. But like, the game is not easy in a good way. One of the other things, these tokens here, this is one of your item tokens. And my first thought when I saw this is, why bother having a token when the image is already on the board? But then I've realised, because if I don't have that token, somebody else is going to come along and pick up, and then somebody else is going to come along and pick up, and you'll end up having 3 people pick up from the one thing. And it's so to remind you that, oh, no, it's already destroyed. Only thing I'd probably say is maybe they could have made that artwork look like the box had been crushed or something. But then, I don't know, it works. It really does work. The art style on the tokens looks like it's from a video game. Everything's fairly straightforward with how you play it. It's not complicated, but not in a bad way. Like, it's simple, but it's not easy, which is a really hard balance to get right sometimes. There's nothing wrong with a complex video game, but if it's something that's really, really complex, you'll scare away a lot of your audience, because some people don't want to play Twilight Imperium, for example. And going back to, it needs to feel like what you expect it to be. Beat-em-ups were not complicated games. You picked up the controller and you punched the bad guys until you couldn't punch anymore. They were really, really simple, which is probably one of the reasons why the video game genre died. That and everything had to be 3D, and it didn't work in 3D as well. I really want this genre to come back. We've got Streets of Rage 4 recently. A couple of years ago, there was that Castle Crashes on the Xbox 360. So there is kind of like hints of it, but I really want this to come back properly. This is a video game genre I really miss. This is by Wild Power Games. The other thing I wanted to show you was the box itself. Alright, so when I first got the box, this is essentially how it came. And while you're sitting there thinking, oh, why is he unboxing it? I'm not, just bear with me. This is, so yeah, obviously your rules. I don't remember what order the tokens came in, but that doesn't matter. And then you open it up, it's like, what on earth is the point of that big giant hole? Now, this did come in the box, which is why I left it there. But I don't know if that's how it will appear in the retail version or not. Now, obviously, if you're not buying the version that comes with the miniatures, then what you could do is you take out all of your tokens, you put them on the standees, and you've got a great place to store them. That's a great idea. I like that. It's really good. Everything in here feels like it has a spot, and it holds them in that spot they're supposed to be in. Perfect size for your cards and everything. That I really like. These are the minis, and they came in their own box. I've actually thrown the box out, but the box was about that big. It kind of looked like one of those white card boxes that people buy for Magic the Gathering cards. But what you'll notice is they're two different shapes. That is because they've been designed to fit in the box so that everything is together. And remember what I said the other week about I don't understand why more board games don't do things like this and they should be following the example of Mythic games? I know that there are people out there that are not a huge fan of the trays in question there, but as far as I'm concerned, that just trumped them anyway. I mean, that box includes smaller minis, I'll grant you that. It's packed to the brim. It's still nice and small, easily fit on a retail shelf. There's nothing about the way they've designed this box that doesn't make sense. It's been done very, very well. Obviously, the aesthetics of the art is really nice as well. That's something a bit different. But it's evoking the feeling of the video games quite nicely. When this hits retail, I highly recommend it. It's a hell of a lot of fun. If you want to play this by yourself, if you want to play this with your mates, it's fun either way. I haven't had a multiplayer game of this yet, but I can see that it's going to be fun. Hit up Wild Power Games. Keep an eye on them. They're doing some really good stuff. Thanks, guys. Until next time.